There's another quirk in the schedule that could lead to it being a season for the books, especially for the duo of Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston.
People in the game are acting as though they recently noticed a problem in the system now that the secret has been revealed. The 2026 Team USA session turned into a clear warning flag for everyone else because Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston supposedly put on a chemistry exhibition so flawless that seasoned coaches were looking like.
But not only do they have a chance to compete for a WNBA championship this year, but they should be teammates on Team USA.
Did they plan that, I wonder? This wasn't a lighthearted scrimmage in which players ran through setups. Because you don't typically see timing so precise without years of playing together, it was the kind of session that makes staff members whisper afterward. And people have been shaken by that. They weren't merely performing well.
One would assume they're both going to make the roster for the World Cup.
They were moving in unison, as if they had the same clock, rhythm, and intellect. It was apparently described as unparalleled by many in the gym. And even if that term is used excessively, the response reveals the truth. It's not typical chemistry when a couple reads each other's decisions before they are made.
This is interesting. They will go on a break from August 31st to September 16th for the World Cup, which will be played in Berlin.
That's the kind of relationship that may make an effective team problematic. How quickly it purportedly clicked is the crazy part. Clark has a reputation for shooting lasers through small windows. Additionally, Boston is renowned for finishing strong, catching everything, and making astute traffic decisions. However, the passes and buckets weren't the only things that insiders were talking about. It was the exchange between them. For example, Clark knew exactly where Boston would be without having to look twice. Additionally, Boston knew exactly when Clark needed the quick seal, the screen, or the slip. After that, you return to the season. Additionally, like hype feeds into the other. You can tell the difference between two excellent players and a real duo if you've watched enough high-level basketball. It is possible for two excellent players to coexist. The fact that a real partnership does more than just run plays causes defenses to fear. On the spot, they cause issues. According to reports, this practice looked like that. Small movements, slight angle adjustments, a half-step shift, and all of a sudden the defense is fried since the read has already occurred. And it's easy to see why this combination could be frightening.
Why do you say they're going to make the team? Well, we know what happened when Clark didn't make the Olympic team last time around. And, she's the best point guard in the world, so...
Because of Clark's speed and range, defenders are forced to pick up far higher than they would like, stretching the floor and moving helpers out of position. Because she can now seal smaller defenders, slide into open pockets, and get touches where she can finish or kick it out, Boston flourishes when the floor is bent that way. The formula is when one player manipulates the defense and the other player penalizes the manipulation. Boston's IQ is what makes it even more nasty. She makes decisions in addition to being a finisher. Boston serves as the release valve if the defender sends two at Clark. After that, it's either a clear look for someone else, a quick bucket, or a foul. People continue to refer to it as psychic, since the reads appear instantaneous. The ball does not adhere. There is no slowdown in the activity. Everything simply keeps going in a domino effect. All of this excitement is now falling in the midst of another plot that has supporters sizing up the league office. The time frame. According to preliminary analyses, Indiana's schedule is exceptionally rough in many areas, including several back-to-back runs. The Fever are reportedly facing 3 different back-to-backs, more than many clubs. The greater point is true whether or not that precise count holds when the entire calendar is finalized. The players' aggressive tempo creates legitimate worries. Health, because back-to-backs are more than just 2 games. Travel, recuperation, therapy, watching movies, sleeping, and then repeating the process with weary legs. Additionally, the stakes are larger when discussing 2 key players like Boston and Clark. You're not merely aiming for victory on Tuesday. You're attempting to maintain the engine's long-term health. The league must also cease creating schedules that turn stars into dust if it hopes to attract attention. Casual fans don't always see this part. Reps, camaraderie, and rhythm are essential for a rising team. However, by August, it also needs bodies that aren't disintegrating. Something is being built by the fever. And constructing consistency is necessary for something. Rushing preparation, strange slumps, and persistent injuries might result from a timetable that cuts into recuperation time. That is not dramatic. That's the nature of sports. This is where the schedule discussion becomes much more fascinating, though. People circling dates as if they were a cheat code is another observed oddity. Around the World Cup, there will be a major break window from August 31st to September 16th. You don't often see such a long gap in the middle of the season. Additionally, there have been rumors circulating that it might turn into a perfect storm for Boston and Clark. Not just relaxation, but an opportunity to progress together in a more expansive environment. Because if that window is indeed, it turns into more than just a respite when it comes to international play. With the USA across the chest, it turns into a launch pad and an opportunity to lock in even deeper chemistry against top-tier opposition under the brightest lights. It's more than just extra games if Boston and Clark share a floor in that setting. High-pressure reps foster camaraderie that continues throughout the WNBA season. There's a reason why the whispers are so loud. Boston and Clark both attended the Team USA camp in December, indicating that the national program is giving them significant consideration as long-term mainstays. People in the industry have been viewing their inclusion in the World Cup as more likely than then, perhaps. Although nothing is official until it is, the way reputable voices discuss them gives the impression that both are progressing. Sue Bird's remarks struck a deep chord because of this. Bird has a genuine perspective and influence in her role as managing director, and she didn't sugarcoat what she observed. Despite the fact that it was Clark's first time back on the court in a long time, she stated she looked fantastic. That's a clear, unambiguous endorsement from someone who understands what elite looks like. Because talent isn't the sole prerequisite at that level, Bird was also honest about what follows next. She identified conditioning as the primary obstacle, and the manner in which she stated it was direct and truthful. Without playing basketball, it's really difficult to get in shape. Because it's not offensive, that line is important. It's the reality. Every hooper gains knowledge. Game shape is its own beast, yet skills can remain sharp. Despite that disclaimer, one thing was evident in Bird's tone. Clark's baseline is frightening. She apparently made a flawless step-back transition shot, according to onlookers. The kind that indicates that even if the lungs take some time to catch up, the beat is still present. That is what separates someone who is recovering from someone who is not. The fundamentals only require fuel. They do not vanish. Bird then turned around and showed Boston a lot of affection as well. And many people were unprepared for that. According to reports, Bird praised Boston so highly on her show that it seemed like a warning to everyone else. Aliyah Boston looks great right now, she remarked. Not very excellent. Not moving forward. Fantastic. That's a powerful statement, particularly coming from Bird. It wasn't merely hype either. Boston's self-assurance and control were the main points of praise. For example, she is no longer acting uncertain. She is acting as though she is fully aware of her abilities and identity. That is significant, because the type of player that disrupts game plans is one who is self-assured, skilled, and patient. Defenses begin to speculate when a post player can score, pass, and maintain composure, and speculation is ineffective. Games. Additionally, Bird highlighted a more subtle issue that is important for Team USA: creating games. There is more to Boston's development than just points and rebounds. It involves making the extra pass, hitting cutters, reading doubles, and converting post touches into team offense. That's the kind of ability that works everywhere, particularly abroad, where teams vary coverages and demand quick judgments. The Clark-Boston pairing becomes particularly vicious at that point. It becomes a loop if Boston turns into a real hub, catching at the elbow, flipping angles, feeding shooters, and allowing Clark to run off actions, move, and penalize any covering that overcommits. Clark emphasizes the defense. The defense is never able to breathe once Boston cleans it up. That's elite basketball. And the league ought to be taking notice if they're constructing that right now. People who are close to the problem also frequently bring up a more subdued incentive aspect. Clark's passion for the United States. Her failure to make an Olympic squad in the past has been described as a source of resentment. Such chips can also be used as jet fuel. It goes beyond simply assembling the squad. It's demonstrating your value, proving you belong, and returning with a concentration that unnerves everyone else. In contrast, Boston has provided some of the most intimate details about what makes there a genuine partnership. She explained how they give each other a healthy competitive edge. Her statement was straightforward. Since you two want to be the best for one another, it really keeps you motivated. That sentence conveys a lot. It goes beyond statistics. It has to do with standards and not wanting to disappoint the other person. She also talked about their pre-game ritual, which includes hugs and affirmations. While it may seem insignificant to outsiders, these kinds of routines are important in professional athletics. It fosters trust. It creates serenity. When everything else is chaotic, it establishes the mood. Teams become difficult to break when they combine emotional connection with on-court accuracy. Even Clark's previous university Lisa Bluer, the coach, has commented on the fit in a way that seems almost prescient. She mentioned how thrilled she was when Clark joined Indiana because she knew Boston would gain from those rhythmic feeds and passes down the floor. It's more than just a kind remark. That is a coach identifying a clean basketball partnership. A big who finishes and reads, and a guard who sees the game early. The league is currently observing the outcome. They are beginning to be referred to as a truly dynamic duo. Some even dare to bring up the topic of all-time pairing territory. Although it's a significant assertion, it wasn't made out of thin air. Boston's steadiness and Clark's gravity combine to create an uncommon balance. Flash as well as vast range, internal supremacy, chaos and control, and structure. Imagine the calendar aligning in the manner that insiders have been murmuring. A World Cup run, followed immediately by a return to the WNBA stretch. It's the kind of momentum swing that can turn a season around if Clark and Boston end up on the same Team USA squad, pursuing gold together, and then returning to the fever with even more chemistry. Fans won't be able to overlook the Double Crown storyline of a World Cup gold medal followed by a genuine WNBA title push. Furthermore, the rarity of the alignment would make that scenario much more bizarre. There aren't usually seasons with league schedule, international competition, and a growing duet all synchronized simultaneously. If the timing is accurate, it opens a window in which history can occur rapidly rather than gradually or ultimately. Even with all of the hoopla, the most astute basketball thinkers will advise you to remain grounded. There are no guarantees. Everything revolves around health. The Fever still have to contend with formidable opponents, challenging travel, and playoff pressure that highlights all of their flaws. A championship run isn't a movie plot, it's a grind. However, despite that reality check, there seems to be broad agreement regarding Clark and Boston's Team USA trajectory. Their fit, their skill sets, and their increasing level of comfort together make them useful in any kind of system. Yes, star power is important, but compatibility is just as important. Not only are these two compatible, they intensify one another in a way that modifies the behavior required of defenders. Additionally, their relationship has a fascinating past that intensifies the impact. They weren't always on the same team. They were competitors, top choices, fiercely competitive, and came from various backgrounds and roles. Boston has even noted how odd it seemed at first to go from fighting someone to working with them, but how soon she saw that their perspectives aligned. The same standard, the same aspiration, and the same will to succeed. Rival energy transforms into cooperation energy in this way. When that switch is flipped, it's difficult to stop as each representative is now an investment. Every practice turns into an opportunity to improve timing. Every game turns into a laboratory where new strategies for penalizing coverages are developed. Therefore, this is what individuals actually mean when they remark that the leaked practice glimpse seemed revolutionary. It appeared to be the start of something more than a standard team bond. They won't just be two talents on the same roster if Boston and Clark continue to build chemistry and receive that international stage experience together. They will be the builders of a new era, redefining what a contemporary women's basketball championship pair looks like. Additionally, if the league is wise, it will safeguard that chance rather than squandering it with shoddy scheduling and conflicting signals. because these kind of moments are rare. A rare window of opportunity. Two exceptional skills, a great fit, and a growing spotlight may transform promise into supremacy. If you don't waste it, this is the kind of setup that creates history.